My roommate secretly moved out in the middle of the night, leaving me with 3 months of rent to pay. She blocked my number and laughed, "Good luck suing me." 2 weeks later, she walked into a job interview and froze when she saw me sitting across the table as the hiring manager. I smiled and said, "Tell me, why did you leave your last living situation?" I live in Portland, Oregon, and work as a hiring manager at a mid-sized tech firm. A few months ago, I decided to get a roommate to help with the rent. I met Samantha through a mutual friend. She seemed reliable, had a steady job as a graphic designer, and we got along well. We signed a lease together for a 2-bedroom apartment in the Pearl District. For the first month, everything was fine. We split the rent and utilities, and she was pleasant to live with. But then she started paying her share of the rent late. She always had excuses, waiting on a client payment, unexpected expenses, etc. I covered her portion, trusting that she'd pay me back. One morning, I woke up to find her room empty. She had moved out in the middle of the night without any notice. She blocked my number, and I couldn't reach her. I was left with 3 months of unpaid rent. I tried to track her down to take legal action, but she had vanished. I was frustrated and felt betrayed. 2 weeks later, I was conducting interviews for a junior designer position at my company. To my surprise, Samantha walked into the interview room. She froze when she saw me. I smiled and said, "Tell me, why did you leave your last living situation?" She stammered, unable to answer. I thanked her for coming in and ended the interview. Needless to say, she didn't get the job. It was satisfying to have the upper hand after what she did. Karma has a way of catching up. She didn't leave right away after the interview. That surprised me. Instead, she stood outside the glass door of the conference room, pacing. I watched her through the blinds. Her face was red. She looked like she was trying to figure out if she should come back in or just disappear again. I waited. I wasn't in a hurry. I wanted to see what she'd do. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. Eventually, she knocked on the door. Light. Like she wasn't sure if she had the right to do it. I opened the door. She didn't ask to come in. She just looked at me, eyes wide, like she was begging for something but didn't know how to say it. "I messed up," she said finally. Her voice was low. She glanced around to make sure no one else was listening. "Can I talk to you?" "Just for a minute." I stepped aside, let her in, and shut the door. "I know I left like a coward," she started, not sitting down. "I didn't know how to tell you I lost everything. My job, my savings. I thought I could bounce back quick, but I didn't. I panicked. You blocked me," I said flatly. "You vanished and left me with over $3,000 in rent. You didn't even send a text." She nodded, biting her lip. "I know. I swear I wasn't trying to screw you over. I just didn't want you to see me fall apart." That pissed me off more than I expected. Not because she was crying now, but because it sounded rehearsed. Like she had used that line before. Maybe not with me, but with someone. "What do you want, Samantha?" She hesitated. "I need this job. Please. I can prove I'm better now. You know I'm good at design. I'll pay you back. Every cent. I just need a chance." I looked at her for a long time. Then I said, "You applied for this job thinking I wouldn't be here." Her face twisted. "Yeah, because you didn't think you'd ever see me again." She didn't answer. Then came the twist I didn't expect. She took something out of her bag and slid it across the table. A small, black notebook. I picked it up. Inside were lists. Names, dates, amounts. Mine was there, at the top. $3,210.76. She had written it all down. Rent, utilities, internet, even her share of the grocery runs. There were other names too. 4 of them. All had amounts next to them. All crossed out. Mine wasn't. "I've been paying them back," she said. Slowly. "I was going to find you eventually. I promise." I stared at the notebook. I didn't know if I should be impressed or disgusted. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me knew better. Then she dropped another bomb. If I don't get this job, I have to move back to Nebraska. My mom's sick. She can't help me. I've got nothing left. I opened my mouth to respond, but someone knocked on the door. It was HR. They needed the room. I told Samantha to wait outside. She left the notebook behind. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept reading that notebook. Her handwriting was messy, but each entry was dated. There were receipts tucked into the back. She really had paid off for other people. Small amounts, but steady. Every week. I still didn't know what the hell to do. Maybe she really was trying. Maybe this wasn't just a performance. But I also remembered the silence of that empty apartment. The feeling of betrayal. The phone calls that went nowhere. The landlord's threats. The bills that kept coming. She left me in a mess. Now she's back, acting like maybe this is her second chance. But the story doesn't end here. Not yet. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. The next morning, before work, I got a call from an unknown number. I usually don't answer those, but something told me to pick up. Samantha gave me your number, the voice said. It was a man. Calm. Older sounding. I didn't say anything at first. She said you might want to talk to me. I'm her old landlord. My name's Mitch. I pulled the phone away for a second, just staring at it. I don't want anything, he added. Just thought you deserved to hear the full picture. I listened. What he told me made things even more twisted. Samantha had done something similar before. But not exactly the same. According to Mitch, she lived in a basement unit in Northeast Portland before she moved in with me. She was quiet, kept to herself. Paid rent on time for a while. Then stopped. Claimed she had lost freelance clients. He gave her a few chances because she seemed desperate. Then one day, she vanished. Left behind some old clothes, a half-eaten bag of tortilla chips, and a letter. In the letter, she said she was sorry, said she'd pay him back when she could. Mitch never saw a dime. But here's the twist. She did eventually reach out again. A year later. Paid him the whole back rent. In full. No explanation. Just mailed a check with a note that said, I'm trying to fix things. She's not a criminal, Mitch said. But she's a mess. She runs when things get hard. Then she feels guilty and tries to fix it. Doesn't make it okay. Just thought you should know. I thanked him, though I didn't know what to say. It messed with my head. At work, I kept the notebook on my desk, flipping through it during lunch. I noticed things I hadn't seen before, little symbols in the corners of pages. Tiny triangles. Some circled, some not. I almost didn't ask, but curiosity got the better of me. I texted Samantha, using the number she called from the interview form. She replied fast. Me, what do the triangles mean in your notebook? Samantha, green triangle equals repaid. Red equals not yet. Circle equals weekly payment plan set up. There was no triangle next to my name. No circle either. Me, why not mine? She didn't reply for 5 hours. When she finally did, it was short. Samantha, I didn't know how to approach you. I assumed you'd hate me. I didn't think I'd get the chance. I stared at that message for a while. She wasn't wrong. I did hate her. Or maybe it was more complicated than that. Then came another twist. Later that week, my boss called me into her office. Apparently, Samantha had emailed her directly. Said she wanted to take full responsibility for the misunderstanding and asked my boss not to hold it against me professionally. That made no sense. Why would she assume I'd be the one affected? I checked the company system. We're transparent about our org chart, and Samantha must have seen that I was one of 3 hiring managers. But I was the only one who'd see her file. The only one whose desk her resume would land on. That meant she knew I worked here before she applied. I called her. She answered right away. You knew I worked here, I said. Silence. I checked the logs. You saw my name on the team page. So, why did you apply? Her voice was quiet. Because I owed you. Because I didn't want to run this time. I didn't respond. She kept talking. I thought if I showed up and proved I wasn't the same person, maybe you'd believe me. I know how that sounds. But I wasn't trying to trick you. I was trying to face you. I sat there, phone to my ear, wondering if this was bravery or manipulation. Then she said something I'll never forget. You're the only person I never apologized to in person. Everyone else just got a check in the mail. But you. I left you when you were kind to me. When you had every reason to be angry and still covered my rent. I was ashamed. I still am. She paused, then added, You don't have to believe me. Just wanted you to know. The line went dead. I didn't know what I felt. Angry, sure. But also something else. Something I didn't want to admit. There was another entry in the notebook I hadn't seen before. Tucked in the very back. It just had one line. Final repayment. Must be face to face. And under that, my name. No triangle. No circle. Just my name. Now I'm stuck with a decision I didn't ask for. I decided to wait a week before saying anything to anyone. I needed to know what I was feeling wasn't just from the heat of the moment. During that week, I didn't hear from Samantha. No texts. No calls. No emails. But on Friday, I got an envelope on my desk. No name. No return address. Inside was a check for $3,210.76. The exact amount she owed me. Along with it was a letter. One page, typed. No greeting. Just this. This is not enough to fix everything. But I had to try. I'll carry what I did forever. I know what I cost you, not just in money. I'm not asking for anything. Just closure. I stared at the check for a long time. My first instinct was to tear it up. It felt like a bribe. But I didn't. I put it in my drawer and closed it. That same afternoon, I walked into a meeting with upper management. I was supposed to help make final hiring decisions for the new design team. Samantha was on the maybe list, not for the position I interviewed her for, but for another job that had opened in a different department. She'd applied again, quietly, and slipped her resume into the general pool. She was trying to go around me. I told them everything. Not out of spite, but because they deserved to know who they were considering. I told them about the rent. The sudden disappearance. The blocked number. The unpaid bills. I told them about the check. The notebook. The lies. The patterns. Then I said the most honest thing I could. She's talented. But she's dangerous when things get hard. She runs. And if she runs here, she won't just hurt me. She'll hurt this company too. They took her off the list that day. Quietly. No drama. Just a silent decision made in a quiet room. I didn't expect to hear from her again. But I did. 2 nights later, I came home and found my door open. Just a crack. Nothing looked broken, but my gut twisted. I stepped inside. She was sitting on the couch. My couch. Like it was hers. I didn't even have time to react before she spoke. You told them. I didn't answer. You told them everything. Even after I paid you back. I stayed near the door. You broke into my place. She scoffed. You left the key under the mat. You always did. That part was true. Stupid, in hindsight. But she wasn't here to argue about security. She stood up slowly, eyes wild, her voice louder now. You just had to make sure I couldn't move forward. You couldn't just take the check and walk away. You wanted to crush me. I was calm. Cold, even. No. I wanted to protect people. You fooled me once. I wasn't going to let you do it again. She shook her head like she couldn't believe it. You think you're better than me? No, I said. I think I learned. You didn't. She grabbed her bag and walked toward the door. Then she stopped. You win, she said. Enjoy your clean little life. I let her leave. This time, for good. I called the building manager and changed the locks. Reported the break-in. Filed it under unauthorized entry. didn't press charges. I didn't want that kind of energy in my life. A week later, the check bounced. Insufficient funds. That was the last twist. In the end, she lied even about the apology. So yeah, I lost a lot money, time, peace of mind. But I also gained something. A spine. A line I won't let anyone cross again. If she ever tries to climb her way back into this industry, I'll be there. Not out of spite, out of duty. Because when people show you who they are, you'd be a fool not to believe them the second time.